So, Director of Public Prosecution has ordered a retrial for Vybz Kartel and his 3 co-accused, and it says days after the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council ruled that dancehall artists Adidja Vybz Kartel Palmer, Sean Storm Campbell, Kahir Jones, Andre St. John murder conviction be overturned, the public prosecutor Paula Llewellyn says her office will ask the Court of Appeal to order a retrial. During the ruling handed down on March 14th, the JCPC allowed the appeals of Kartel and his co-accused after finding that the trial judge had not adequately dealt with the jury tampering matters. The court, which serves as Jamaica's highest court of appeal, ruled that the case should be remitted to the Court of Appeal to decide whether the accused should be retried or released. Kartel, Campbell, Jones, and St. John have already served 13 years in jail since their arrest in 2011 and later conviction in 2014. However, the country's DDP explained to the press on Monday that her office is obliged to ask the Court of Appeal to order a retrial. I believe we would be obliged to, given the strength of the case for the prosecution that was put up and given the authority and the case law. I think perhaps as I reflect going forward to my retirement next year, I have been too successful in seeking to, and I'm happy about it, to sensitize the public, to sensitize the media, to try to explain a lot of complex issue very often. And I say this when you have knowledge of the state of law in any particular area. For example, retrials. The prosecutors are obliged to go on a particular path, she said. The DDP has been under major criticism from Vybz Kartel and his fans in reacting to the trial via a statement sent to Urban Island. Vybz Kartel expressed relief at the Privy Council ruling while declaring himself an innocent man. I feel victorious in this very moment as the Privy Council, in their infinite wisdom, understood the assignment and remedied the situation by squashing my conviction. I am now back to being an innocent man in the eyes of the law. A grave injustice was done to me and my co-accused in the original trial, Kartel said. Vybz Kartel also questioned the move to order a retrial while noting his faith in the Court of Appeal to free him and his co-accused. I am also very confident that the Court of Appeal in Jamaica will do the right thing in the name of equity, fairness, and justice and free us. Some people have expressed their concern to me that a retrial may be ordered, but to them I say, I bet, with my limited knowledge of the law, what is there to retry, he asked. The DDP also explained that a retrial is not done to single out defendant or to secure a particular judgment, but instead based on many factors that affects the country's justice system. The public has been aware that the issue of a retrial, as far as lawyers, well, let me say prosecutors, as far as the judiciary is concerned, has nothing to do with the emotion. It has nothing to do with who the accused is. It has to do with the seriousness of the offense, the public interest, and how perhaps extensive it is to the amount the retrial. It doesn't even have to do with what likely verdict may be, but it has to do with the number of factors which have been outlined in, and we outline in that what we would call the classicus from the Privy Council in a case called the Crown versus Dennis Reed. One of the concerns the defendant's lawyer raised is the possibility that their clients may not be able to secure a fair trial given the widespread publicity of the case and the significant time that has passed for witnesses to appear. The Privy Council declined to rule on the points raised by the appellants regarding the validity of the telecommunications evidence used to convict them. This means that the evidence, mainly from the defendant's cell phone, will likely to be retendered if a retrial is ordered. A date for the hearing by the Court of Appeal has yet to be announced. So Paula Llewellyn went on Nationwide and talked about this case for a little bit, and I want you guys to listen carefully to what she had to say on Nationwide.
Vybz Kartel Privy Council ruling continue. And this morning, for the first time, the DPP was responding since the judgment came down last Thursday morning. And she was asked by Tona and Ricardo about the advice she gave to the judge in the trial after it was revealed that there was an attempt to bribe the jurors.
DPP, having been told that all of your jurors in 2014 had been offered a $500,000 bribe, why did you not advise the judge that it was probably best to dismiss the jury, which was now obviously tainted?
You see, you are now trying to get me to discuss the matter, and I told you that I didn't wish to.
No, but certainly this point, DPP, is important, because here the law lords are saying you advised the judge that you were prepared to proceed even though you knew that the entire panel, 11 jurors, the forewoman told you, had been offered bribes. Wouldn't that mean in your judgment, DPP, that the entire jury, as the law lords have now found, was contaminated and should have been terminated or discharged?
Well, first of all, I am not the judge.
True, but you gave advice that you were prepared to proceed, and what I'm trying to understand.
We were prepared to proceed.
But why were you prepared to proceed with a jury that was contaminated?
No. All the other factors, that some of which I cannot go into in terms of.
So you were thinking about cost. You were thinking about how long the matter had been going.
We were also thinking of security issues. There were a lot of other issues that we cannot go into the public domain. And what our information from the foreman was, what she was saying, was that all of the attempts had to do with acquittal. Clearly, if it had been the other way, we would have, clearly, given the overriding objective of any case, which is fairness to the accused. But what would have been perhaps planted in the mind of the jurors is, okay, you need to acquit. And remember that these persons, at least two of them, are very famous. So it would have been, as far as the prosecution, when we discussed it, we would have been at those ones at a great disadvantage. This is not the first time.
But with the greatest respect, DPP, that's not persuasive, because what I want you to focus on is the fact that the process now had been corrupted and contaminated, and you advised the judge that you were comfortable proceeding with a contaminated and corrupt process.
This is not the first time that I have had to deal with jury tampering.
And be that as it may, in the exercise of your judgment, why did you not see it fit to bring to an end a matter that had been corrupted?
After 64 days of trial?
Isn't the interest of protecting the impartial trial greater than the length of time that had elapsed?
I agree with you on paper, but I have done other cases where there has been jury tampering to the great negative of the prosecution. I have seen cases, I've seen jury inquiries where the juror, having been questioned, it was quite clear that it was either an accused person or an accused person's relative that approached the juror. And the juror was able to indicate to the court that it did not make any difference. He would still be able to have an impartial situation in his mind. I have had the experience. I've prosecuted many cases. And when asked,
so I think a lot of people are confused about the bribery. So if there is any form of bribery, whether it's for the defendant or for the prosecution, whether it's for the people to be found guilty or not guilty, the fact of the matter is, once there's bribery involved, whether it's for or against the defendants, the jury is contaminated. That's with any case. Paula Llewellyn claimed that she was ready to continue. And she was ready to continue because she is lazy. She didn't want to follow the letter of the law. She didn't want to do what was fair. And I quite honestly think that they could have given him a fair trial and his conviction would stand. But because of everything that they did to cut corners, now we are here. She later went on to say that people are trying to intimidate her and her office, but let's get into that. It is unfortunate that the council has sought to spread misinformation and to seek to be mischievous and foment misunderstanding on this area. I can only hope it is not in an effort to intimidate me or my office. They must be so careful that being so irresponsible and spreading this sort of misinformation that it does not act as an adverse factor which undermines our security at the office of DDP. We are career prosecutors and we have no vested interest in any cases. I beg to differ, because prosecutors definitely have vested interest in certain cases. That's how they become prosecutors for very long time. That's how they make their name. That's how they set their legacy in law. So yes, prosecutors have vested interest in a lot of cases. You can look at the YW Melly case in the US. The prosecutor definitely had a vested interest in that case because that's how she was making her name and who she is as a lawyer. But the fact that you're going to say that we don't have no vested interest in any case shows me that that's untrue. From me, looking from the Privy Council aspect of this case, and she saying that she welcomes a retrial, I knew that 9 times out of 10, Kartel would have to go through a retrial. I feel like the retrial is going to be way more than 64 days, so taxpayers' money are going to be used up. The problem I see with a retrial is, how are they going to get a 12-member jury to give Vybz Kartel a fair trial when this trial have been so widely publicized, not only in Jamaica, worldwide? But I may not see how they can get to a 12-member jury that's unbiased and willing to do their jobs as jurors. But maybe them get some people for cherry garden so them never hear of Vybz Kartel in them life. Maybe that is the route that they will go for the jurors. Who knows? The next problem I have is experts came from the United States of America to test the metadata that they used to convict Vybz Kartel and his 3 co-accused, and the experts said that the metadata that they used were tampered with. So Paula Llewellyn saying that this is a strong case for the prosecution tells me that this is very much personal. This has a vested interest in it. Because what are you going to prosecute them with after 13 years in jail? Where are going to be the witnesses that are going to show up to court? Do they even still live in Jamaica? And I'm talking about everyone, from witnesses at the hospital, from police officers, to everyone that was in the trial previously. Where are they going to find these witnesses? And what data are they going to use to convict Vybz Kartel and the 3 co-accused? Another point is that they ordered the house that supposedly Lizard was killed in to be destroyed. So if you're going to prove your case, how are you going to prove your case without the location? Because you guys knew that Vybz Kartel was going to appeal and he would take it to the highest court. And you guys still ordered for that house to be destroyed. So how are you going to prove the time, place, and whereabouts to prove your case that he is the person that killed this man. Because if you had left the house intact, you could have gotten people outside of Jamaica or inside of Jamaica to do DNA analysis, to look for fingerprints, to look for blood spatter. So why did you guys have that house be torn down? How are you actually going to prove when, where, and how? But with that being said, I will watch this case closely because we've been watching this case closely for years. Let's see how this goes. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Leave your comments in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.